What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and today we're going to be focusing on the form for our application here, our little simple website. This is going to be the form page and handling the post and validating it and all that stuff, storing the data. So there's a lot to do in this video, so we're going to just get right to it. First of all, I do want to install cookie session because we are going to be using cooking sessions, or sessions at least, -- save, and feel free to use any session that you want. Just make sure you're using a session. Up here, we are going to const cookie session is going to equal require cookie session. And let's use it down here. I'm gonna clean some of this stuff up first. So I want our logos and then just like that. But right here, right before this or after this, we're going to be using our session. So app.use, I want to use the cookie session. And I'm not going to talk about too much of like the session for right now. We are going to be going over it later on in this video, or in this, not this video, but this series. So don't worry about it if you don't understand what sessions are, or just do some random keys right here, or you don't know how they work. Just don't worry about it. We are going to be going over it, not in too much detail, but we are going to be going over it. All right. Let me see. Oh, Control save, and there we go. Now we have our sessions. Great. That wasn't the point of the video, but now we have cookie sessions because we are going to be using sessions in this video. Now let's focus on our feedback HTML. Now we do need this in our pages. Where's our pages? Move it. I'm going to rename it to EJS. And let's just get rid of all the stuff that we don't need. The header being one of them, and the scripts being the other. Control save this. Now let's go to our feedback route and just render that out. So let's return res.render. We want to render out the layout page first of all. Layout page, and then passing in some stuff, which is the template of the feedback. And we also want to pass in the actual feedbacks that we got from the method getList. So feedbacks. And we're not going to be using that for right now. First of all, I do want to make sure this is actually working. So npm run dev. It's on localhost 4000. Let's go to that. Go right there. And as you can see, we are getting our feedbacks. Or 3 of them at least, because that's already in the feedback. Now let's actually loop through our feedbacks. So in here, we gotta find in where our stuff is at. So that's one of them. There's another one, and that's another one. So let's get rid of these 2 down here. Okay, calm down. All right, and then let's just for loop through all those things. So right here, feedbacks dot for each, we're going to get a feedback back. Let's close it, or open this one and then close this one. And what we want to do is grab this. Now this shouldn't be new. This is why I'm speed running through all this, because I mean, you should know exactly what I'm doing. Now let's look at our feedback. Our feedback has name, email, title, and message. So in here, this is our title. What do we call it? Feedback? Okay. Feedback dot title. I'll just grab this. Copy. By name. and then this is going to be our message. Paste message. Control save. Now if we go back, refresh the page, we should see our, okay, we are looping through all of this. Awesome. Okay, now let's focus on our form right here. Let's go back to the page. Right here, where's our form? Right here. So if you already know HTML and you already knows about forms and you know how to post it, this should be easy. We are missing two attributes or properties right here, which is a method, which is post, and the action. What route do we want this form to go to once it has been submitted? And we want it to go to the feedback route, which we already have set up down here, right here. And then we do need to add name attributes to these things, because if you don't know, when you send in data, when you parse it in the backend, it parses it by the actual name of it, not by ID, not by anything else, but by the name. So none of these have names. And the reason I put it that way is because, I'll do it while I'm talking. The reason I do it that way is because if you do pass this to a specific designer, most designers, I say most, won't really put this name in there because they just don't really care about that, obviously. So what you need to do is actually do it yourselves. So for the first one, I'm going to just set name to name, so that's a name. This one's going to be email. This one's going to be the title, and this one is going to be the message. All right, so now that we have all the names and we have the action and method, let's try it out. Even though we're not going to get anything, but in here, WDJ, title, message. If I actually submit this and go to my network, even though, yeah, it didn't look like it did anything since, look at this. It gave me an empty parameters. So let's try it. Why didn't it do anything, first of all? All right, let's try it one more time. Maybe I just need to refresh it one more time without this. Okay, let's do whatever right here. Let's submit it. It should, there it is. It should send us to this, because we did say in the feedback that once it hits this post route, it's going to send feedback post sent. And check this out, just to make sure that we sent some data, we can actually go right here, form data, and we actually did send, the client at least did send some data in the back end. Now in the back end, it's our job to parse that data so that way we could have it. And there are middlewares that help us, Body Parser. You've heard of that one. I'm pretty sure you heard of that one. And by the way, rec.body, that's where we get the body from, all right? It's from the body parser. If we do rec.body, console log rec.body right now, without that body parser, we're going to get undefined because we don't have a middleware that parses out the data that's coming back. So we're going to be using body parser. But fun fact, check this out, fun fact, is that if you have Express 4.16 and up, you could actually use a built-in module, Express, to actually do that, and it actually uses a body parser module for that. If you have anything lesser than 4.16, you do have to install body parser and use it. So since I have 4.17, I could actually just use the built-in version, which we are going to do that. Right below these things, I'm gonna put it right here, right in the middle of this stuff. All right, so I'm gonna do app.use. Like I said, this is a middleware. We're going to do using express.url. There it is, the first one. We're going to extend that to be true. Now we have a parser for our middleware, so that way we parse our data. And let's go back over here. Now we could actually do log and then rec.body. Control save that. Let's go back to our page and refresh it so that way we resubmit this page once again. And you can see right here that we actually have our data. Now, like I said, let me just prove to you, if we did not have this, and if you go back to the page and refresh it, you're going to see that we get undefined because, like I said, it hasn't parsed our data, or we don't have a middleware that parses our data. So we don't have that body. We don't have that dot body, this property body. This is attached by the parser, which is Express. All right. Now that we have that, we do need to validate and sanitize the data that's coming in, because I'm not gonna go into much right now anyways about security, but they could start injecting JavaScript into our forms and thus breaking our server, or trying to hack into our stuff, which we don't want. So we want to sanitize and also validate the things that's getting passed in. So for that, I am going to be using a module, and that's called Express dash validator. I gotta say it like that, or else I'm gonna spell it. Express validator, which is just a simple module that validates our data. There are tons of modules out there that could validate the stuff, but this one it's a pretty small file, so that's why I like it. But like I said, there are tons out there that does it. But this one does what we need it to do. So I'm gonna just use it, and we're going to be getting check from that, and also validation result. And don't worry, you're gonna see what exactly these two do. Let's go down here now. What we need to do once we get our data is going to go into the post route right here. This is where we want to check. So in here, I'm creating an array, and to make this better to view, I'm gonna just split it up like that. Inside of this array, this is where we're gonna actually start checking our data that came in. So we're gonna check the name, and this uses the names that were passed in. So name, title, message, and email. So we're gonna check name, and we want to trim that. Trim. We also want to say is length, because we want at least a minimal length. A minimal length of, let me see, min. We want it to be at least 3 characters long, okay? You can put whatever you want. Dot escape. Escape is basically the thing that's going to sanitize our data. Escape. Which means that if they do inject JavaScript into it, we're going to just convert that into a string, so it won't do anything. And if there is a message, we're going to just say with message, we're going to say a name is required. So I'm going to copy this, because we're going to do the same thing for email. Email. We want to trim that. We also, not length, but is email. And trim, you do got to put the parentheses. Don't forget about that. We want to, not to escape, we want to just normalize email, and with the message of a valid email is required. Now, 2 more to go. 2 more to go. We got the title. We want to trim it. We want the length to be, I'm going to say 5 this time. We want to escape, and we're going to say a title is required. And then last but not least, it's the message. We want to trim that. We want the length to be 5 as well. We want to escape, and with message, a message is required. All right, now now that we checked everything that we're getting in, let's go over here. Let's get rid of this. All right, we're gonna actually create a const and call it errors, and we're gonna set that equal to, now this is where we're gonna use the validation result, and we're gonna just pass in the rec object. So this is going to just check what's happening up here, which is all this stuff, and if there's any errors, we're going to push it in right here, which is the errors. Okay, so this is just checking the rec object that has all this, and if there's errors, we're going to just put it in the errors right there, or that variable errors. So now if I'm gonna say if errors dot is empty, So basically this statement not empty, basically if there are errors, we're going to do something. This is where we're going to be using the session. So I'm gonna say rec.session, and I'm gonna tell you in a bit why we're going to get, or why we're using sessions. Okay, not right now, just in a little bit. Let's just get this over. Errors dot array. Okay, so basically right here, if there are errors, what we're going to do is create a session with the feedback, or we're going to make a feedback property inside of session, and inside of feedback we're going to have the errors property as well, with just converting this errors into an array. That's all we're doing, right? And this is all if we do have errors. Okay, now after all that, we want to send them return res, control Z, res dot redirect, and we're going to want to redirect them to / feedback. All right, now this is the real reason why I use sessions, and the reason why is because since we're going to redirect them to the actual feedback page, we're going to need those errors stored in some place, and I decided to store them in a session. Now we could have stored them globally, but that we don't want to do that. Honestly, we don't want to. We just want to do it per session. Now up above, let's get this ready. Below the feedbacks, we're going to create another const. We're going to call this errors. We're going to set that equal to, and we're going to be checking inside of rec.session.feedback. And we're going to say if there is a feedback session or a session with the property feedback, then what we want to do is rec.session.feedback, get the errors from that feedback. If there isn't, then we just want to return false. All right, and this right here is from down here. Remember, if there are errors, we're going to create a session with the property feedback, and inside that property, this is where we're going to store the errors, and that's what we're basically saying there, right here. If there is a feedback session, then we're going to get the errors from that feedback session. If not, we're going to just return false. Now after that, we're going to rec.session, and we're going to just set the session of feedback back to a empty object. And the reason why, I'll tell you the reason why in a bit once we actually get this out. Now we want to send the errors, control copy, to our template, so that way we could render out our errors. Let me go back here and see if there's any errors. Okay, there's not. Oh man, I said errors, I don't even know how many times. Someone keep a counter. That was way too many. So right above the send us feedback, let me actually go back and show you. Let me go back over here. Right here, right below this, we're going to spit out the errors if we have any errors. Okay, so right here, right below this, okay, so if conditional, yes, if the we gotta check locals.errors. If we don't, we are going to get an error. So if locals.errors, why is this? No, get this out. Put this right here. So basically, if there are errors, what we want to do is, spit out our errors. Now, since I am using Bootstrap, I am going to use Bootstrap classes. So alert, and alert dash danger. Right here, we're going to create a UL, and inside that, this is where we're going to create a for loop, so that way we create an li for every error. So once again, errors, and errors is the one we're sending in. So errors dot for each we are going to get an error back. Close this out, and open that one and then close this one. All right, this is where we're going to create that li with the error message. So error.msg. All right, awesome. Control save, and let's go check it out for ourselves. Refresh the page. I'm gonna refresh it one more time just to get a measure. All right, first of all, I'm gonna just send this request or this form with no data. Let's see what we get. Submit, and voila, we do get our errors, 4 errors. All right, now this is a part where I'm gonna explain why we did this right here. So this object, this rec.session.feedback, has the errors right now of the 4 errors, right? Of these 4 errors. Okay, now if I start filling this out with whatever at gmail.com, whatever, and let's say I'm gonna leave off message, so we are going to get an error about the message, right? So if I submit this right now, I'm gonna get just 1 error back. But like I said, if we didn't have this, what would happen was those 4 previous errors would have shown up right here as well, plus this one just attached to the very bottom. So if we didn't have it, it's going to keep on adding those errors to that errors object, and we don't really want that. So what we did was just make it, or put it back to a empty object, so that way every new error is only going to be focused on those new errors and not the old errors. Now that we have all that, let's go back down here and focus on adding the data to our database. All right, so we do have a function that does that. Feedback service on top, right here, add data entry. All of this, this is where we're going to add it, and as you can see, we need to pass in the actual data: name, email, title, message. All right, so first of all, we already know, make this async. Down here, what we want to do is just grab all that stuff, or all the data from the rec.body. So rec.body, and its name, email, title, and message. And what we want to do is await, and just grab that method from feedback service dot add entry, and giving it the name, email, title, and message. Okay. All right. Now, in this case, this is a success, so we're going to do exactly the same thing for our session. But instead of an error, we're going to just do a simple message saying thank you or whatever. So I'm going to just attach it to the rec, you already know, .session .feedback, and we're going to just set this equal to, we're going to add in a message, and we're going to say thank you for your feedback. After that, return res dot, actually it's going to be the same thing, so we're going to just redirect them back to the feedback page. And now that we have this session of message, we do need to check that up here. So right below this errors, I'm going to make another one, const success message. I'm going to say MSG. I'm going to set that equal to, it's going to be exactly the same thing right here. Copy. But instead of errors, we're going to be checking the message property. Otherwise, just set it false, which is correct, right? You should know what's going on right here. We're just checking. You already know. I'm not gonna explain it. And then we gotta pass in that success message right here because we're going to be using it in our template. And this is for our error. So down here, we're going to say else if locals.success, I called it MSG. Is it MSG, right? Let me go back down here. Not down here, up here. Success. Yeah, okay, I'm just copy this so that way I don't misspell it. MSG. And then let's just close it off before we forget. Okay. So if we do have a message, we're going to add a div with the class of alert, and it's going to be alert dash success, and in here we're just literally going to give it the success message. So success message. Control save. All right. Locals. All right. Okay. Now that we have that, let's go back to our page. Refresh a couple of times, so that way we get the latest one. All right. That's enough. Let's actually fill this out completely at gmail.com. Well, actually, let me just leave out message, and we should still, okay, we still get our error. Okay, awesome. Just making sure at gmail.com. Now let's complete it completely. Submit, and we get thank you for your feedback, and that's appended. Look at this. It's appended to the top. We actually have it right there. And just to make sure, I'm going to say WDJ at gmail.com, title, title, and then WDJ was here. Let's submit this, and there we go. By WDJ was here, some title. Awesome. Well guys, that was it for this video. We just focused on the feedback page, and you learned a little bit about sessions as well, but we focused on the feedback page. Now in the next video, we're going to be focusing on the APIs. And then after that, we're going to get advanced. I'm going to create a new series, and it's going to be advanced, and we're going to be using this exact same project just to make some more advanced things to, or add more advanced things to this project. Okay, just letting you know right off the bat. So thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate you spending your time watching my videos. It means a lot to me, guys. So if you do like my videos, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below on what you want me to do. I do read your comments, and I do see that comment about what was it called? Forms, or not forms? Yeah, making a form of like Gmail, Twitter, try to sign in with that stuff. And don't worry, we are going to be doing that. I don't think in this video, but we are going to be doing that in another series. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.